Back. Well, summer is in full swing, and with so many amazing outdoor activities in the 716, it's easy to forget the potential damage to your skin if you aren't proactive. Joining me now in the Daytime Buffalo studio is Dr. Michael Nazareth of Western New York Dermatology. Dr. Nazareth, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me here.
Well, why don't we start off just by talking about the practice itself and all that you guys have to offer?
So Western New York Dermatology, we really tried to encompass everything with dermatologic care. So we treat adults, we treat kids, full range of stuff, a lot of dermatologic surgery for skin cancer. So, you know, I always have been proud to say my youngest patient has been a few days old and my oldest patient's 105. So
oh, wow.
Kind of fun to treat the whole range of patients.
Absolutely. Now, we're appreciating summer and the summer sun, and with that comes, the rays that are really harsh on our skin. So what is the right way to make sure that you're being proactive and taking care of yourself?
Great question, Chelsea. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we want people to enjoy the summer, right? I mean, they're so short in Buffalo. We want to make the most out of it. So when people are outside, wear a hat as much as you can. Protects the face, protects some of the scalp areas and things like that. Also shades the eyes. We want people wearing sunglasses, too, to protect their eyes, because one of the rates of skin cancer now on the eyelids has been going up.
Oh, wow.
And then the last part of that, too, using sunscreen. So, something SPF 30 or higher, and then trying to reapply every 2 hours or so if you're going to be outside for a while. If you're just getting some casual contact and are in and out of buildings, putting it on, it should probably last longer. But if you're going to be outside, hopefully this, long weekends and things ahead of us here, try and reapply every 2 hours.
What are some of your top tips for people prepping their skin when they have a long day of activities all outdoors?
So, I mean, the first thing we want people to do, you want to wash your face about twice a day in general, not excessively. So I think a lot of people in summertime think, I'm a little bit hot and oily, I'm just going to keep washing my face multiple times.
Right.
Especially some of my teenagers with acne, they think the solution is going to be to wash their face more times a day. And it's not, because that actually can cause more irritation. So twice a day, wash your face. And then in between, try and use that sunscreen on there. If you need to use a moisturizer, do that too. And don't forget the lips too. Use a chapstick with an SPF in there too, because that's something that a lot of people, I think, forget. And then, of course, at the end of the day and stuff, when you've come in, if you've been outside for a while, wash your face, get some of that stuff off of there so it's not drying and clogging pores and causing acne.
What are some of the places where people may be forgetting that they need to be protected?
I think the number one place I see what I call surprise sunburns is probably top of the feet, because now we're wearing our flip-flops and stuff for summer, and people are good about the sunscreen sometimes on their face, their arms, or their legs, but they forget the top of the feet. And it is possible to get skin cancer there too. So one of those areas that people forget that we want them to remember.
Also, I think some people forget when they have a very pronounced part in their hair, people forget that you can get burned there too, and that's happened to my friends, and it's not fun.
Yeah, that hurts, first of all, and second of all, that does predispose people down the road to getting skin cancer in those areas, particularly basal cells and squamous cells, and no one wants to have surgery on their scalp, obviously, so putting that hat on can really protect it. And for people who have a lot of hair and it's just the part, it's okay to just spray sunscreen right down the part. That's protective too, so that helps.
Now, for women, especially myself, I have oily skin, and so there's been a trend in beauty and makeup of having powders that have SPF in them. What are your thoughts on those?
Those are great, actually. So, we have a lot of patients who buy our brush-on block that we have in the office. It has a tinted version too, but that is really nice. I actually use it, leave one in my car because, you're running in and out. It's nice to be able to put that on. The other reason too is a lot of the greasier sunscreens, if you're sweating, people don't want it in their eyes. It starts to burn, it fogs up your contacts. So the brush-on blocks are actually quite nice because they provide that SPF 30 or higher, and at the same time, they're not so greasy.
There's been a lot of recalls, I think especially last year and this year, of different sorts brands of sunblock. So are there any that you recommend to your patients?
Yeah, there's definitely a dichotomy with sunblocks and sunscreens. So some of the ones that were troubling people were the ones that were the chemical ones that have a lot of avobenzone, phenoxybenzone, and some of the other ones. Those do technically cross the skin barrier and end up in the bloodstream. Now, the FDA has never really shown necessarily that could be a bad thing, but a lot of people are very concerned about putting chemicals in their body. And for those patients, we do recommend that they use the physical sunblock. So those contain the zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. People can find those in basically the baby sunscreens have a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
A lot of my patients like the Elta MD one that we have too, simply because it's not quite so white and pasty, because a lot of the physical blocking sunscreens tend to be a little pastier.
You have the good ones there, so if you want to get the best, you got to go visit his office. Thank you so much for coming in, Dr. Nazareth.
Thanks for having us.
If you would like to learn more about Dr. Nazareth and his practice, you can do so by going to their website at wnyderm.com. Thanks again for coming in.
Thanks, Chelsea.